Welcome to episode 73 of the Twig Snapper Podcast. Today we're joined by Cassie Romanczuk of the Temple women's field hockey team. She's our first full field hockey player. One of our previous guests did ice hockey and field hockey at the Division III level, but Cassie's our first full field hockey guest. So how are you doing tonight?
Well, thank you for having me, and I'm doing so well. A little bit tired, but yeah.
Yeah, are you guys doing like spring training and stuff currently?
Yeah, so we're in full effect for spring season. So the lifts, the conditioning, practices, they're all in very much like full work. So
Yeah. Well, before we get to Temple, there's a few things I want to talk about like prior to your college experience. I was trying to read through your bio and it was hard because there's a lot packed into that little paragraph. But it said that you were a gold medalist at the AAU Junior Olympics, and you were also a member of the Championship USA indoor field hockey team. So maybe you could touch on both of those. I don't know which one you want to mention first, but touch on both of those for a little bit.
yeah, so I wasn't on the indoor team, but I did play like club, and my team won the indoor championships a bunch of times. I'm not sure if it's anything like how club ice hockey players play it, but it's like a pool play style tournament, and you have to qualify in order to go. So I played for the club, New Jersey Stars, and we qualified a good amount of times, and yeah, we won, which is pretty good, very good. The AAU Junior Olympics, it's kind of a complicated process to get there. I'm not going to lie to you. So there's this thing in field hockey. It's called Futures. I don't know if any like club ice hockey has the same thing, but it's like an Olympic pipeline. Um, so you have to attend a bunch of training camps and practices in order to make it to the regional level. And then from there, you play a tournament. They select you based on your talent and everything. 30 to 40 girls from each region are selected, which seems like a lot, but like my region was New Jersey, so all of New Jersey. You have to be the top 30, 40 players, and I know like there's a DC, Maryland, and Delaware region. So like out of those three states, the top 30, 40 players have to get selected. So yeah, like then you play at the National Futures Championship, which is where everybody from across the nation goes, and you just play against other regions. So I would play against like a Pennsylvania region, like the Delaware and everything. And then it's basically a selection tournament. So you can get selected for like the Junior Olympic team, the USA team, or you could get selected to like Junior Olympics, which is a completely different like break off. It's kind of confusing, honestly. But yeah.
So the whole point is like preparation for future Olympians.
Yeah, so I've honestly had the privilege to play with like a bunch of girls who are on the national team now. Yeah, they're like at the Junior Olympics. My whole team was D1 recruits. It was Temple, like me, and then we had a bunch of girls from like Syracuse, Northwestern, Michigan, which are like top powerhouses of like the field hockey community.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's nothing like that for ice hockey because most of the ice hockey Olympians, depending on the year, are either Division One college players or they're NHL players if the NHL allows them to play, or in some years they're other minor pro players. So I don't really think there's any of that like kind of an Olympic pipeline type deal for ice hockey. So that's really interesting. Moving into Temple, I guess the biggest, question is why did you choose Temple?
I get this question a lot actually, and I feel like out of all the other schools I was considering, Temple's athletic team, like the field hockey team itself, just felt like a family. And a lot of people say like, "Oh yeah, like our team feels like a family," but you can kind of like get the little gist that like, okay, maybe there's a little bit of something going on, but Temple's team, like as soon as I met all of those girls, I was like, this is like the family you want to be a part of, because when you play at any level of college, D1, D2, D3, those players turn out to be your brothers or your sisters. So I really wanted to pick a team where I could, one, like, I don't know, like step foot in the field, I guess, not in that way, but like contribute to the success
Yeah.
of the program, and have coaches that will believe in you and put you first as a player other than the player aspect first. And yeah, like Temple was just honestly a perfect fit.
Yeah, I know what you mean about well, like you said, like make an impact. I mean, you don't really want to be on a team where you're just kind of there floating around, but you're not really helping the team in any way. I mean, I know there's some people out there who would rather, just say, well, I played for this team, even though they didn't really contribute, but they can still say they were on the team, and that means more to some people than others. But obviously, it feels better when you actually see the impact you can make on your team. And speaking of an impact, one of the bigger moments in your career would be, I'm assuming, the game-winning goal you had at Providence in the 2020-21 season. So maybe you could kind of talk about how that all unfolded in the game and everything.
Yeah, so honestly, if I remember it right, I think we were down. It was a tied game actually, 0-0, and it was a total team effort. Like it started building out from the back. Our backs found like a great ball to one of our screen players, which is kind of like a mid in ice hockey. Um, and they found me, and I meant to like cross the ball. Honestly, I meant to pass it to one of my wide open teammates, but then I don't know what happened. It just kind of went in. So, yeah, I mean, it was a great moment, especially as I think I was like a freshman at that point because of the COVID season to be able to contribute to like such a big win because Providence is a very great field hockey team in our conference and we needed to beat them in order to make it to the Big East Championships. So, yeah, it was a good goal.
Yeah, hey, it doesn't. If you were meaning to pass it and it went in, I'm sure everyone was happier that it went in than that you connected on your pass. It,
Yeah.
won the game. And then this season, you were injured.
Yeah.
So I saw your mic'd up video on your Instagram, and I could see you were wearing a brace. Did you tear your ACL?
Yeah, so it was in a game against ODU, and I stepped the wrong way and I completely blew out my knee. So fully tore my ACL, or meniscus partially torn, and my PCL kind of, yeah, they all took the fall.
All
But
at once.
yeah, I really messed up my knee real bad. But yeah, I mean, it took 2 surgeries and over a year of PT, weightlifting, like conditioning in order to get back to where I am now. But yeah, it sucked sitting out for a season. It really did. But I saw it as like a curse yet a blessing because now I honestly probably wouldn't be the player I am right now without having to sit out and learn tactically the sport of field hockey rather than physically playing it.
So did that happen at the end of last season or the middle of last season?
So it was actually it's the whole story, like, it's pretty funny, honestly, now thinking of it, like, I broke my shin in the beginning of the season, so I had to sit out 2 months, and then 9 games into the season, it was, like or 9 games into when I could start playing, I just tore it, so I would say it was, like, the end of the season, kind of, yeah.
So you got over one injury and then you thought, "Oh boy, I get to play," and then you really had another injury.
Yeah, it was awful, but can't
Were
change
there
it.
any, points where you had doubts that you were going to be able to play again? I mean, since you blew out your knee so badly, I mean, was there ever a question like, "Oh, I might not ever be able to play again"?
I mean, I feel like that was definitely in the air, especially when I had to get the second surgery for like scar tissue stuff and everything. Like, I feel like any injured player could kind of relate. And it's like, wow, I'm really doing all this work. Like, is it worth it? And I had to talk about it with my athletic trainer a lot. And I was like, like, is it worth it to like play again and potentially re-injure myself? Like, because any ACL person or like survivor or something, like they easily could tell you like the statistics. I honestly don't know off the top of my head, but there's a pretty good chance you're going to re-tear the other one. And I mean, yes, I had doubts of not playing, but realistically, like I think it's the environment I'm in right now is like these girls are my sisters and I don't want like I'm not done yet, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And there's something about, battling through that adversity, like you said, that makes you the player you are now. Obviously, nobody wants to get injured, but when it happens, I mean, you have to look for a positive out of it. Otherwise, you just make yourself miserable if you don't.
Yeah, exactly. Like every conditioning session we have now, I literally just while I'm dying, like running, I'm like thinking about the time where I was sitting on the bench and watching all like my teammates run, and I'm like, I'm very like blessed and grateful to be able to do this conditioning session. Which before my ACL, I probably would not have had that mindset if I'm being honest. But now I feel like it's just showed me so much resiliency, and yeah, I'm honestly pretty sounds bad, but I'm pretty blessed that it happened.
Yeah. No, it gives you a different perspective on even the simple things like conditioning, things that maybe you took for granted or you never enjoyed doing, but for that short time you were unable to do it, and there was a chance you weren't going to continue doing it. So now that you can, you kind of have to you can't take things for granted in life, and everyone does. It's so easy.
Oh yeah,
But
I
then when you have an injury like that, it really makes you step back and start to appreciate every single little moment.
yeah, for sure. Like even playing in a spring game all the time, like my parents are sitting on the sidelines. They're pretty worried I'm gonna get hurt again because I am a very like physical player. So I'll like dive and lay out for balls and everything, but like I'm just grateful that I get to step foot on the field wearing the Temple uniform and being able to like hold a stick in my hand again.
Have you, do you have worries? Like, do you worry about it often, getting injured again? Personally, I mean, you said your parents do, but do you, think about that in the back of your mind when you're playing?
I try not to. I mean, there's some days where I'm like, wow, like my knee's feeling pretty crappy, but I feel like if I worry about it the more, then I'm not going to be the player I want to be. Like I can't have that holding me back other than, like I'd rather think of like laying out for a goal or scoring a goal than like, oh, maybe if I step this way, like I'm going to re-tear it. So,
Yeah, right. You don't want to let that fear overtake you, and it can affect your play. I haven't had, knock on wood, any major injuries, but I sprained my ankle, which is not even close to what you experienced. But I sprained my ankle, back in November, and just since then, like if I go to try to play basketball or different things, initially I felt myself almost afraid to do certain things that I used to be able to do, and you'd try to go for a layup and then I'd back off, and it really, if you let the mental side beat you, it screws up all of it.
yeah, exactly. Like you can't like every athlete's dream is to just get better at their sport, be the best that they possibly can be. And I feel like worrying about little things that are uncontrollables, honestly, like getting injured is an uncontrollable thing. Like if you think about that, it's just going to hold you back or hold you back to being like a great athlete. So,
Yeah, nobody plans to get injured. It just happens. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you can train and condition and stretch and do everything perfectly and still get injured.
exactly.
So you can't think about it. Um, so I know, through talking to different people, like I said, we had a guest on who plays ice hockey and field hockey. Do you have girls on your team that played ice hockey growing up?
Currently, no. Temple, like I know a bunch of our girls have played lacrosse and everything, but my sister actually played like roller hockey. I don't know if that's like
Yeah.
any similarities.
Yeah, there's a
Um,
lot of ice hockey players that play, roller hockey if they're from like a warmer state, like it's big out in California and different
yeah,
places.
yeah. Well, we're from New Jersey. I don't really know why we had it, but it was something my sister did, and then she found field hockey, and we were little runners back then. Like we loved to run and everything, so our mom signed us up. But I have played with a bunch of other girls, like through futures and everything, who've played field hockey or ice hockey. I'm sorry, and like I just can't even compare the athleticism they have from playing ice hockey and then coming and just killing it at field hockey. Like I've the best field hockey athletes, I swear by this, the best field hockey athletes are the ones who've played ice hockey.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense because skating, in a sense, is more difficult, and than and more, it takes a little different skill set to be able to skate, and you're using different muscles and everything. So then when you take them off the ice, they've got all of that skill and that muscle built up that they can, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like they'll like just sprint past me and I'm like, wow, like, all right, you go girl. Like you got this. Like
You mentioned running, and I wanted to ask you because the field is a good size.
Yeah.
So you're running a lot. How often do subs come in and out? I mean, I can imagine it's pretty easy to get gassed, even if you're well conditioned.
Yeah, so for at least for my team, like the forwards are the ones who do the constant sprinting and everything, so it depends on what position you play. So forwards usually get subbed every like 3 to 5 minutes because at that like our coach just wants us to be able to put our best foot out on the field, and then if we're tired and we can't do our job, then we get pulled out. Um, so forwards is like every 3 to 5 minutes. Mids are kind of they vary. So like we'll have mids who stay in for 5 minutes to like a 10-minute rotation. And then backs, they're the ones who never get subbed out. Like I don't think we've ever subbed out our backs.
They're not running as much though, so they don't need it.
I mean, in field hockey, like we push up all the time, so they'll do like 50-yard sprints back if there's like a
So
breakaway
they
or
just
anything.
don't get a rest.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they don't
Oh
get a rest.
man, that's kind of tough.
It is. I feel bad for them, but
Yeah. So, I don't know a ton about field hockey. How much physicality is allowed? Like, is there any physicality allowed? People getting pushy in a sense or anything.
I mean, in my opinion, field hockey is a very physical sport, but then comparing it to like ice hockey, kind of like it doesn't really seem as physical as like what everybody else like plays. But we can't cross check anyone or anything like that. Um, Basically, like the only physicality you get, like you can do a little push on like the forward's back or the defender's back, like a little bit, but like the ref can't see. So, um, like it basically is just like if basketball, like posting up and boxing out is kind of what we compare it to. So
Yeah.
there's a little bit of physicality, but really the whistle blows all the time. Like you can't really get that physical.
You said people can't cross check, but do they cross check sometimes?
Yes, I've gotten cross-checked so many times, but, like, in field hockey, the refs will just pull out a card, and then those like, their team will have to sit out, but yeah. I mean, physicality is not allowed, but, like, when emotions get high in a game,
Yeah.
a lot happens, like, a lot of girls get bodied, a lot of girls get pushed down, so
And are you wearing any protective gear at all?
I feel like we probably should wear more. We wear shin guards and mouth guard. So now we're wearing gloves because a lot of girls' hands have been getting broken from the ball, like getting hit. Like my roommate's finger is shattered right now, but she's a beast. She's playing through it.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah,
That's crazy. Yeah,
yeah.
I can't imagine that was fun getting hit with the ball and shattering your finger. Oh.
No, like that ball is honestly so hard. It hurts so bad to get hit with it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, well, let's transition out of field hockey for a little bit and kind of just do some more fun or personal questions to wrap it up. I see on your Instagram you took a trip to Rome recently. That had to have
Yeah.
been pretty fun.
Oh, it was such like an amazing experience. So since I mean, kind of bring it back to athletics, I went with the Temple athletic staff and everything. So you just have to write an essay and then get selected to go on the trip because athletes at Temple really don't have the time or anything like that to be able to study abroad. So luckily, our STHM and everyone in our Resnick staff, they created this trip to go to Rome and everything. And honestly, it's probably one of my most fond memories at Temple so far. Um,
I can imagine, yeah.
it was so fun because you go with like a bunch of your friends, like 4 girls from my team went, and then we were there with football, volleyball. Like it was just an amazing experience to be able to like bond with people outside of your team, but also get closer in a sense of like now we have a Rome group chat. It does not stop going off. Like the bonds you created with that, it was just amazing. It was such a good trip.
So how many total athletes do you think went?
I think out of everyone who applied, 14 got selected, and I know like out
Okay.
of that was out of the whole athletics like department.
Wow.
So every single team we have here. Sadly, some teams can't really apply because the spring season's their main season.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my favorite part of the whole trip was the Coliseum. Like that, seeing that was so cool. Like I can't.
Yeah, I'd love to go to Rome. That'd be awesome. There's so many places in Europe I'd I'd like to go. I was lucky enough in high school. We had a school travel club, and I got to go to England, Ireland, and Wales. Um,
Wow.
yeah, you like join the club and you fundraise for 2 years, and then you went and we got like paired up with other schools. So there were, I don't know, 15 or so of us from my school, and then there were kids from I think Colorado, and there was like a school from Arizona, and they like pair you up on your tour bus, and you like get toured around, and then you take a ferry from Ireland over to Wales, and we like drove through Wales, and then we spent time in London, and it was really cool.
How long was that trip? That seems so fun.
It was, I think it was 10 days. So, we packed a lot
Mhm.
into 10
Yeah.
days. We spent like one day or 2 days in the Irish countryside, and then 2 days in the city, and then, I don't know, 2 days somewhere else. And like, so a lot of like 2 nights in a hotel here and two
Oh
nights in a
wow.
hotel there. And it was awesome, but like, makes me want to travel to more places in Europe. I'd love to go to some of the Norwegian countries. I'd love to go to Italy, and there's just the list is endless.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wish that what's it called? England is one of my places I wanna go to so bad. I have no idea why. All of my friends who are from England are like, "Why would you wanna go?" And I'm like, "It just seems
Honestly,
so like, so cool."
honestly, England was Ireland is way cooler in my opinion. Like I
Oh,
did not like London. I didn't like London. It was just too busy for me and like too big, and 'cause it's like I don't know 8 million people, but then in Dublin, Ireland, it's like 1 million people. So you still get that city vibe, but it's like a little more step back. Like the tube in London, the subway or whatever is nasty. I mean, it's
yeah.
like it's kind of gross and busy and stinky. And then Ireland has this like above ground train system in Dublin called the Dart. And like that was like we were the only people in our a car, and there was like it was really cool and clean. And so if you ever get the chance, I would recommend going to well, I mean like England if you want to go there. There's
Yeah,
a lot of cool stuff, but also go to Ireland
yeah,
is what I'm saying. It's well worth it. It's a fun town. There's a
yeah.
lot of stuff to see.
Yeah, I'm actually going back to Europe this summer, with my roommate. She's from the Netherlands. So we're gonna
Oh,
go take a trip there, go to Germany. Yeah, I'm really excited. We've been planning
yeah.
this trip for forever, so
I can imagine that'd be a lot of fun. I mean, honestly, any European country would be a lot of fun, but
yeah, honestly, like, I'm so excited, especially the Netherlands is, like, such an in my opinion, underrated country because there's so much
yeah.
to do there, so much history. I'm a big history, like, geek, honestly, like, love history, and we're gonna go to the Anne Frank Museum, get to see
Oh,
everything over
yeah.
there, so I'm really excited.
That'll be that'll be cool. And then one of the best parts is the food, like trying new foods, and there's so much to try, and
Yeah, I'm so
to
excited.
put on a couple extra pounds in your travels.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's say you were out with your teammates and there's a karaoke machine and like you lose a dare and you've got to get up and sing in front of everybody, but you get to pick the song. What would you pick?
So, I have 2 songs that I would pick. So, it would either be "I Wanna Dance with Somebody" by Whitney Houston, which is probably the most, like, boring, generic answer anybody could go with, but it's just
A
such
lot of
a
people
fun
say
song.
"Party in the USA," so
Oh, yeah.
yours is not that it's not that bad.
Yeah. But, like, if I'm gonna do a duet and I have to drag someone up there with me, because I probably would, it would be "Don't Go Breaking My Heart" by Elton John. I, like,
that
thought of the whole scheme of things, like
that'd be fun. That'd be fun to watch. It's always, interesting. Like, you're gonna embarrass yourself, so you try to think of a song that isn't as bad. It's gonna be embarrassing regardless of what you sing. So,
I mean, it's gonna be embarrassing. The people who push me on the stage are gonna, like, plug their ears, which I never would have went on it, but I feel like these songs are pretty, like everybody would get into it, and then at that
yeah.
point, everybody would be singing, and they wouldn't be able to hear me, which is what I like.
Or somebody will take a video and it'll follow you for the rest of your life.
It would probably end up on TikTok, and, like, all the meme pages would just, like, roast
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. And that would be your claim to fame.
Oh, yeah, I've been waiting for this moment. So,
Yeah. What's your favorite sport to watch?
Okay, my answer is definitely going to be a little bit boring. For some reason, out of any sport I can watch, I just love watching baseball. Like,
Really?
yeah, I tell everybody that, and they're like, "Are you, girl? You good?" Like,
Like on TV? Do you like watching it on TV?
oh, TV, going to a baseball game, like getting a good hot dog. Like, you can't go wrong with baseball
Well,
at all.
I agree with the like going to a ballpark, like that's fun, but like watching it on TV is kind of hard sometimes, I think. I don't know.
I mean, with the new pitch clock, it's really not that long to
That is
do.
make a change.
Yeah, but it's annoying because like people don't really appreciate baseball. Like if they like the pitch clock's just annoying now because it was fun to be able to like watch the batter set up and everything and like the pitcher like
Yeah.
taking their time. But I don't know. Baseball's just it's a cool sport. I would never play it. I could never play it, but it's a cool sport. I'll watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot I have a lot of respect for being able to hit a, 90 whatever mile per hour fastball out of the park, like over the walls into the street.
I could never like. Yes, I play field hockey. I don't think my hand-eye coordination can go anywhere but the ground. Like in the air, I think that's just a completely different thing.
So what's your favorite baseball team?
So I'm kind of a bandwagon because my parents are from the New York area, so I'm a big Yankees fan.
Oh boy. Oh geez.
What's your team?
Um, I like the Diamondbacks and the White Sox.
Okay, I mean, like,
So I
that's a
kind of go between the two of them. I've been to two White Sox games, one White. I've been to at least one White Sox game, maybe two. I can't remember honestly. But that's like why I like the White Sox because I've been to their games.
yeah,
I've been to a Cubs game too, but I'm not jumping on that wagon.
at least I'll admit I'm the bandwagon here. So,
Yeah. Hey, are you a bandwagon in other sports or just baseball?
I mean, now that I go to school in Philadelphia, I have, the Phillies and not like I'm not a big Phillies fan, but the Eagles, like, yeah, I've bought in a couple of shirts that say the Eagles. My parents aren't happy about it. They're Giants fans. So that
Oh,
caused a little bit of a war in our house, but yeah.
yeah. Well, that's fun though. It's
Yeah.
good to have like that kind of a competitive. Wait, but you said you're from New Jersey, so you're not are you a Devils fan or are you a Flyers fan because you're in Philly now?
Um, I would probably say Devils just
Okay.
because Jack Hughes, I don't know. Does he still play there? Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if I were to watch ice hockey, I'd probably turn on the Devils game, or if
Yeah.
I went to a game, I don't have a Devils jersey, but wear something red. I don't know, but
Yeah. I have a good friend, and she's from New Jersey and she's a huge Devils fan and she's gone to she goes to games every time she's home. She's going to Devils games. She's
oh,
just like
really?
a diehard fan.
I think that's the one sporting event I've never seen live is a ice hockey game. I went to my cousin's ice hockey games and whatever, but like
Yeah.
I've never seen like a professional ice hockey game, but I want to go so bad.
Yeah. Like I've never been to an NFL game or an NBA game. I've been to MLB games and then I've been to AHL games, which is right below the NHL. So still pretty good hockey. But yeah, I'd love to go to check off a few more things,
Yeah.
different pro sports. What's your favorite season and then your favorite activity in that season?
This one, okay, so my favorite season is fall just because I love the Halloween atmosphere and like the little spooky stuff. I love that.
So do you like horror movies?
Oh, I love horror movies. Like they're one of my favorites just because they're so funny. Like you have to just think of it as just a movie, and then once the music dies down or starts picking up, something scary is gonna happen. Like,
Yeah, they kind of give it away,
no, they definitely do.
Especially the like 80s horror movies. Oh, they're so bad.
Like like I know this is like one of the greatest horror movies of all time, but The Shining, like,
Oh, I hated The Shining. I thought it was just too boring,
yeah,
like
it
too
is.
long and like drawn out. And
Right now, I'm rewatching the Insidious series.
never seen it. I'm not big on horror movies.
I would highly recommend it. I mean, if you want a good jump scare, they do a very good job at doing that.
Yeah, I probably won't take your recommendation. I'm more of a light and fluffy. Like I want comedy and
Yeah.
I guess I kind of cut you off there in the middle of your fall answer.
Oh, yeah, fall. I don't know. I just love, like, the atmosphere of being able to wear, like, a big sweatshirt, like, just
Oh,
being comfy, cozy. I feel like that's the vibe fall gives. So, yeah, I would say
yeah, I
fall.
love that. That like it's crisp and cool out. You don't need a jacket. You get by with like a flannel, a sweatshirt or something, and you just like that brisk, air's blowing the wind. I mean, the leaves up, and there's just something about it.
Yeah, and, like, the bonfires that you can have with your friends because it's not too cold, and then I just love, like, the nature in fall too. Because yeah, spring's fun, summer's, like, fun, whatever, but, like, when the leaves change, it's just so pretty, like, the colors and everything, and, like,
Yeah,
living in Philly, I just think the summer's way too hot, like, way too hot. So, like, I'll deal with a good fall, like, like, 50 something degrees day, like, that's, like, a very good time.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't like hot. I don't do hot. I don't like cold either. I mean, I don't know which one I'd rather choose, but
That's why fall's just the
there's
perfect little,
yeah,
like,
it really is
medium.
because once in a while you get like a nice 70-degree day and you can still, maybe go for a swim or something. But then you get those like 50-degree days where you can still be outside. It's that perfect mix. Early fall,
Exactly.
is like the best. That first week of September, you'll still be hitting nice 80s, and then you transition into the 60s, and yeah, it's just all around the best season.
That's, like, one of my things I stand by is that fall is the best season.
I agree with you. Let's finish on what's your favorite movie?
So, I had a ton of options. I was, like, thinking about it, but I think my all-time favorite movie is probably The Blind Side, about Michael Oher and everything. I don't
Yeah,
know, his
that's a good
story is
movie.
so powerful, and my
Yeah,
mom and I always watch it. She showed me it when I was younger, and she was like, "You're lucky, like, to be able to play the sport you play now and, like, be able to do what you do. Because like, look at, like, what the struggles other people have had to go through to get
yeah,
to where, like, I was at when I was younger, and I think just the message behind the movie I love messages and meanings and everything. I'm a very, like, down to earth person when it comes to that, so that movie just hits a spot in the heart every time we watch it.
yeah. So, what other movies were in the running that you had to choose from?
So, I mean, like, The Sandlot, like, that's a good one, that's a classic,
Yeah.
and, Remember the Titans was probably
Oh,
between The Blind Side and Remember
yeah.
the Titans that I
I
was
love
gonna go
Remember the
with.
Titans. That's a
Such a good
fantastic
movie,
movie.
such a good movie, like, I don't
Yeah.
think they could have done any better at, like,
No.
creating it, like.
No, it's one of those movies, like, it's just perfect the way it is. Nobody should ever, like, try to remake it or do anything to it. You just gotta leave it. It's great just
Exactly.
the way it is.
Like, if it's not broke, don't fix it, don't touch that movie, it's a very good movie.
Well, they're breaking that formula for anyone who's a Harry Potter fan. HBO is remaking
So,
Harry Potter. I don't know. I
TV
don't
show, isn't it?
I don't like that. I don't understand the purpose of it. Like, if there's a movie series that everyone loves out there, why just like, I don't know, just trying to make more money, I think, honestly. Like,
I think they've run out of ideas, now they're just trying to, like, touch on anything just to make a buck, so.
yeah, nobody's got anything creative anymore. It's always like Disney remakes. They just turn the old ones into live action movies, and I feel like you see on TV, it's just like a remake of an 80s show or a 70s show or something. I don't
There's
know.
just remakes of remakes. I think it's just because people just love nostalgia, and, like,
Yeah.
they love to go back to the time. Like, that '70s show was my favorite show, like, growing up. I watched it with my parents all the time, like, such a funny show. But, like, now what's it called? That '90s show or something?
Yeah.
I watched it, the first episode, I had to turn off, I was like, "This is awful." Like,
There's something about like when there's something good, they try to make it again, but
yeah,
they usually fail.
yeah,
Like if they did a good job, it'd be fine, but usually they don't. It was like you just ruined it. Now everyone's just gonna remember that the second one sucked.
yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like Top Gun, Maverick was a home run, and it's my favorite movie now. That was perfect.
Yeah, that
But
was such a good movie. I saw it in theaters and I was like, "Wow." Like, they
yeah,
hit the nail on the head with the storyline and everything, like,
yeah,
such a good movie. They should take notes from that. Like, everyone
exactly.
should take notes from that.
And there's in the works, I think, a National Treasure 3, which I'm psyched about. I love the National Treasure movies. And one of the producers, the guy that produced Top Gun, is the guy that did the National Treasure movies. So I'm really hopeful that since they did such a good job on Top Gun Maverick, that National Treasure 3 won't be a letdown.
I hope not, honestly. I feel like, I don't know, Maverick was just such a good movie. I haven't
Yeah,
watched
that
any
was.
National Treasures, though, so.
Oh, man, they're great. I recommend those.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, Maverick is awesome. I can watch that one over and over.
Yeah, it's such a good movie.
All right, so I think that's a good place to wrap it up. So thank you for joining me and being the first full field hockey guest on the show.
Yeah, no, I had fun. Thank you for having me.